Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Underdog Underdog Views, and I watched Attack of the 50-Foot Woman from 1993. And with the tagline, people always called Nancy the little woman. They never do. They never do. They'll never do that again. Jesus. But before we start, thank you. Jesus, what is this? Thank you very much for subscribing. Number 72. Yes, 72 subscribers. Holy fucking shit. It really means a lot. Still, you know, every subscriber really means a lot. And we have also a special shout out to Porsche 962C, who left a comment on my other Attack of the 50-Foot Woman from 1958, the original movie. He said, well, going on a limb, he said, I hope you do a review of the 1993 remake, this one, of the film starring Daryl Hannah. I don't really know who Daryl Hannah is. Even though I've seen the movie, I still don't know who the fuck he is, you know. Yes, he is one of the characters, but I don't know, because I don't know the actor. There's a bit more of her as a giant in the film, luckily. So I said, yeah, I planned to do it in July, which, you know, apparently it's 4th of July, you know, good for you Americans, yay. And I said, cool, I look forward to it, hope it's a detailed review. Well, and I've got a detailed review for my guy, for you, my guy. So let's just start with the movie, because I've written down a lot of shit. We're in space, and we see, you know, we see the stars, and we see, you know, a bright light that you're in the sky, and it's coming closer. It's coming closer, you know. Closer and closer and closer. It's becoming, you know, obviously it's bigger, and apparently it's going towards Earth. And here's something. I will say that at the end. So it's going to Earth, and we see, you know, we're in the middle of nowhere, and we see a road. And there's, you know, a bus driving on a road. What buses usually do, you know, they drive on roads. Who knew? And, you know, we zoom a bit in, and then we get, you know, standing at the side of the road. You know, we see it, you know, coming and going, and we have again, you know, of distance, you know, and we see it taking a left. It's driving, and all the way at the end is it stops, you know, because there's no more road, because there's apparently a building there with, you know, a flag out, and, you know, the bus stops. It, you know, door opens, and everybody comes out, and there's a woman there, you know, smiling, called Donna, waiting for them. And we're going to leave it at that, because if you don't know what's going to happen next, watch the movie yourself. But let's start with the whole shit list of what I've written down. First of all, apparently this was a movie in a movie, because they were at a museum or whatever, and everybody from the bus, you know, sat down in a chair, you know, they had to have their hands and arms on their, you know, on the side of the chair, you know. They usually have, you know, those things, I don't know what you call them in English, you know, but they have to put it on there, you know, and be quiet, you know, and watch the movie. And if so, you know, if you don't like something, you know, just look away. Okay. And so, like I said, yeah, apparently this was a movie in a movie because then they showed it, and which I don't mind, but kind of funny, Um, why I was laughing? Why I was why I was laughing at at the beginning was because that light, at a certain point, it stopped moving, but the Earth became bigger, and when I saw that, it was pretty funny actually because legit the light was stationary. It just stopped and they made the Earth bigger. No, they did. They didn't just zoom in and all. No, they just legit made the Earth bigger. Everything stood still and just enhance. That's that's basically what they did, which was kind of funny to me. um, this ship did something different. In the first movie, it was it landed. It was more of a sphere, and a guy came out. Well, a bit later, a guy came out. This movie didn't have a giant guy. It was more of a normal UFO that you would think of a UFO. Think about just picturing a UFO. Just a simple UFO as a child would. Just a flying saucer. With a dome, maybe something on the side, and that's it. And like in the first movie, you're driving in the middle of nowhere after she found Harry cheating again. At a certain point here, I just thought, Nancy, you're also kind of retarded. You know that he's cheating, and you still stay with him. The fuck's wrong with you? So I didn't feel sorry anymore for her. So but anyway, she was driving and UFO and UFO just it just zapped her with in her chest with a kind of a very small beam, and that was her encounter with the UFO. Then it flew away again. But she told her, yeah, it ran me off the road. No, it didn't. You were driving. It flew. It zapped. And it flew away again. It didn't, flew next to your car, so bumping it like you drive. It, the fuck, In the first movie they did him, they said for that she more like smelled like elderberries, if you know, you know. Elderberries were used back in the day to make alcohol, so in the Monty Python movie, The Holy Grail, when they call your father smelled like elderberries, that means your father was a drunkard. So, you know. The more you know. Anyway. I don't also get why everybody cover ups for Harry. The father, even from Nancy, knew that he was cheating. He also apparently knew the woman that Harry was cheating with, and still he didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck. What kind of a father is that? And I don't want to say every rich parent is like that, but in the movies it's usually the rich parents are usually mostly the fathers, that they don't usually give a fuck about the child. They treat them bad and also, oh, you have to do this, all controlling and all. And he was no different. He was when the father um, came to that woman, I don't know her name. Click, click. Didn't click. Yeah, when the father came there, he was standing there with a cigar, smoking it right in her face. Well, with maybe 3 feet away from her, something like that, a meter, away from her, smoking a cigar. I've smoked cigars, I have smoked cigars, not for a long time, but those things stink. I can tell you out of experience, and I have a colleague that smokes cigars, and I honestly can tell you, those things stink. Stink is even, it's soft, that it's saying it lightly, those things are fucking disgusting. Disgusting! Disgusting! The smell. Funny story. I had a box of Rubia cigars, They were maybe this long or this long. And I smoked them, when I was in high school. Yes, I smoked cigars in high school. No, not for a long time. I smoked first cigarettes, then I smoked Shack, which is, did like this, but more stringy, I don't know if you also have it in America, but if you're European, you know what Shack is, I don't know if it has an English name also, but we know it definitely here in the Netherlands and Belgium as Shack. Well, I can't speak about Belgium, but in the Netherlands we call it Shack, So I smoked that. Then for a bit I smoked cigars and I went back to Shack, and after Shack, I went to pretty old joints, and now I run my own joints. So yeah. I've smoked quite a bit since I was 16. So that's 11 years I smoke. So anyway, so cigars, I smoke cigars, and you can't, usually, why did you see them, because you smoke them over your mouth, that's, I don't know how the right word for that, but you smoke them over your mouth, you don't inhale the smoke, so you and with normal, cigarettes, weed and all, just inhale with it. But if you do that with cigars, there's a chance that you go on the diarrhea. Here's the funny part, I had no problem with it, I can smoke them over my lungs now, I didn't have the problem with those. And I didn't want them anymore, I don't know how much I still had them, but I gave them away to a friend of mine. And he did the same, he inhaled them too. But he went in the shit for a week, so well, maybe not legit a week, but for he went on the shit, so that's the funny part. But yeah, I have some experience with cigars, and I can tell you that those things are fucking disgusting. They had wait. They had a second account, they went back, she went back, from Harry, you have to come with me to the desert, I'm gonna show you where, it happened. And they went back to the desert, and there, the UFO appeared again, flying, and she was, I told you, and here is what the fuck was she doing, She was twirling, you know, and she twirled under the UFO. You know, she came closer and closer to the UFO on purpose. On purpose, and you know, twirling under it, and then and took it away. Like, why the fuck are you going closer to the UFO? That's the part that I didn't get. Why the fuck are you going closer? Fucking retarded, you know? In this movie, you know, we kind of saw her grow. Not a lot, but you know, sure, you know, the ring that she had on, the necklace, you know, became suddenly smaller and it fell off. And clothes, you know, started to rip. So we didn't really see her grow a lot, but we did see some growing. It was usually, you know, that. Sorry. She was when she was big, you know, she stayed in a barn, and you know, Doctor Loop, whatever his name is, you know, came to see her. You know, she was in the barn, and the barn is space, you know, it's open. There's nothing standing there, you know, no large things. No, just her there in the corner. And you know, they went inside, and you know, he looked, you know, he was a bit, you know, and I said, oh yeah, doctor, that is Nancy. And so pointing at her, and you know, from there, so, oh, that's her there, you know, that's her. And he thought, oh, dude, you were looking around, she is fucking big. You couldn't see her sitting there? There was nothing in front of her. Yeah, I thought, oh, yeah, there's Nancy. Oh, now she comes out of hiding. No, it just there, just there. She's just there. And he was, oh, yeah, just oh, really? You didn't see that fucking big woman sitting, that giant woman sitting there? Yeah, yeah. Stupid. Yeah, there was also a party when she had dinner with Harry on the back of a food truck. Well, she was not on the back, but he was on the back. You know, there was a table there. He was staying there, and you know, he said something. You know, she was mad. She, you know, hit the food truck, and and he landed on his feet. He just miraculously, you just poop on his feet. Really? I think, dude, if you get hit by the food truck and the food truck lifts and you know, fly off it, you don't land on your fucking feet. What are you, a cat? You know, not very realistic, but hey, it's a 50-foot woman with a UFO, so how realistic do you want to get it? You know, but you know, some parts just don't make sense, like that. Or that part, you know, from just I land miraculously on my feet like a fucking cat. I fucking hate this, you know. I fucking hate this. Always, you know, it's always a motor, you know. Just like at my last home, there's always also a motor outside just. Gee, and now it's off again. Why the fuck did you do it then? Drive off, or don't do it. Don't just stand there. Oh yeah, like. Anyway. I think the movie was decent. I can't give The Father 5 because of all the, the bad, crazy shit that happened, the punk. I didn't click on anything. The punk and whatever, I think this will be the last days of my laptop. That's shit. Anyway, I'll give this movie a 3.75 because it was pretty decent, I would say it was the best movie that I've seen. I would say it's the worst movie that I've seen, but it was kind of decent. I'm gonna leave it at that. Leave likes, recommend a good movie, download in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, come join Discord, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yes, I have done the Twilight Zone in 3 days. But we'll do it tomorrow. I swear we'll do it tomorrow. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll see you guys tomorrow then for which movie? For the Phantom of the Opera from 2004 and The Mark of Sorrow from 1920. Yes, we're almost done with the Phantom of the Opera because we have maybe 2 or 3 more to go, and then we're done. We have done almost all of them that I could find, Yeah, that's it. From the Mark of Sorrow, that's just the beginning of the the Sorrows, because we're gonna watch all of them that I can find, and there will be a lot. For some movies there will just be a lot because they were very popular, just like Dracula, There are so many Dracula movies, but the original Dracula will be, I will explain it when we get there, but I'll see you guys tomorrow.